winter is coming. In today's video, we're going to talk about tips for managing safety in the winter. Let's go.
The problem in safety isn't deviation, it's complexity.
Health and safety has gone mad.
Health and safety is trying to unpick having gone mad in the past.
There's no one solution and one problem. The problem is that we are looking for one solution.
Does the structure of the team allow them to flourish?
Feel safe enough to be uncomfortable.
The environment defines our behaviours.
People aren't the problem, they're the solution.
Rebranding Safety, crushing the stereotype. Brought to you by Risk Fluent. What's up, peeps? Welcome back to Rebranding Safety. Rebranding Safety does exactly what it says on the tin. We're here to change the perception of health and safety. We do that on the podcast and we do that here on YouTube as well. So if you're here, hit those subscribe buttons, like buttons, follow buttons, all those good buttons that look like they do good things. Winter is coming, and winter brings unique challenges in which in the UK we should pretty much be used to, but we seem never to get on top of this. It happens every year, but yet we still don't get it. Shit gets cold and starts to freeze. That means things get slippy. Things are cold and hard to touch and hold, and it's hard to work outside and our joints get all stiff, etc. And it brings risks for us to manage in the workplace. So today I'm going to talk about the top tips to manage winter slips, trips, etc., ice, snow, blah, blah, blah. From a business perspective, my top tips. And just another heads up, if you're doing your NCRQ assignment and you get the one for winter management, slips and trips, maybe this video will help you as well. Let's get into the video. Okay, number one, dragonstone. You need to mine as much dragonstone as possible. It's the only thing that kills the white, no wait, hang on. Tip number one, be proactive. Like I said in the intro, this happens every year. So try and get ahead of it. Right now, or really last month, the month before, you should be ready for this. So start thinking about how you're going to manage this. If you have a property and outdoor kind of grounds, or let's say a warehouse or a shop or a hospital or a school or something like that, now start highlighting what you perceive to be those higher risk areas. Maybe you set out some high, medium and low if you want to. Places that have got high footfall or high kind of water collection. Water collects a lot. In the place that normally freezes a lot in the winter. Places maybe that during autumn the leaves start to fall and they're rotting and they start to get slippy. Places that you're having a lot of slips and trips from anyway. Have a look at your incident data. Talk to people. Talk to your staff that have worked there a long time. Places where people are all the time. Footpaths. Car parks, doorways, things like that. Highlight those higher risk areas and kind of make yourself a gritting plan if you need to, as to where you're going to grit. Maybe you've got somebody gritting for you, the car park. A lot of people have the car parks being gritted, but where else is being grit? Do you have the grit? Stock up. So we just spoke about grit. Have you got grit? Have you got enough? How are you going to forecast if you've got enough? If you've never really managed this stuff before, it's going to be kind of a guessing game. FYI, if you get too much and you keep it throughout the year, the birds love this stuff and they will peck away at your bag. So you might want to put them indoors or cover them up or something. But birds love this stuff. Weird. I think it's like if you ever kept birds, I used to have some pet birds when I was young. You have to give them like stones to like digest stuff. I don't really know, but anyway, they love it. So FYI, if you have too much of it and you leave it outside, it's going to get absolutely destroyed by birds. Moving swiftly on. Clothing. You know, people that are working outside, or even people that are just clearing your grounds, or people that are permanently working outside or driving, they might need warmer clothing. You know, they might need some shovels. They might need grit themselves. You know, better footwear, things like that. Have you got that stuff? Is it suitable? If you're looking at footwear, you can get footwear that's better designed with a higher level of grip depending on your workplace. You can talk to your provider of footwear and you can ask them, say, oh, is this better for the winter, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. You can get thick trousers that you can just pull over your existing workwear. Same for coats. You can get hats, scarves, gloves, etc., etc. Everything you could possibly think of, you can get. So have you got it? Are you ready? Do you need it? Have a think about this stuff now. Next thing, prepare your heating systems now. Like, here is a tip for home, really, more than anything, but a tip for your big warehouses and stuff like that. Don't just wait until, you know, it starts getting cold and then crank your boiler on and be like, let's go, turn the thermostat up, blah, blah, blah. You need to gradually wake up your boiler. Think it's been out of action for a couple of months, so through the summer, you haven't touched it. And then all of a sudden you're like, boom, let's go 70 miles an hour. It's not gonna work. It's gonna break. You're gonna start damaging the pipes and damaging the boiler, etc., etc. So put it on probably a couple of months ago, really, by the time this video comes out. But if you haven't already, put it on now at a low temperature and gradually build it up. So when it's warm in the day, put it on for a little bit and then have it gradually warming up over the months to come, so that it's not just like boom. Otherwise you're trying to save money and you're just going to have a bigger problem later on. So that's a good tip to remember, even for your home as well. When you've got staff that you're asking to kind of clear the grounds, or maybe put grit out or something, maybe you want to set some kind of guidelines as to when they kind of do that. Listening to local radio stations and listening to weather forecasts and stuff is really, really good. Now, help you be proactive, but you need to kind of set that line sometimes to say, right, if we go below 5 degrees, for example, I want to grit. I want to grit these high risk areas. You know, setting that line can be really, really important. I'm using 5 degrees because it's commonly the one that people start to use, because that's when we start getting into an area. But when you get 5 and below, that's when it starts to get real chilly and things are starting to get into that process of freezing and starting to get slippy, etc., etc. Have a think about setting a temperature line where people can start being proactive. Maybe you say 5 degrees, boom, we're gritting all of these high risk areas that we've previously highlighted. 5 degrees is commonly the one that people start to react to, like your gritting companies will start to grit things under 5 degrees. You might even say under 7 degrees we're going to start doing this, and under 5 degrees we're going to start doing this, and under 3 degrees we're going to start doing this, for example. Have a tiered system or something like that, but set out some guidelines for your staff to be able to react to, so whilst they're listening to local radio stations, the weather forecast, etc., they can go, oh, 7 degrees right now, I know I need to do this. So they know, they don't have to think about it too much, they can just crack on. Next tip, even though there's like 5 or 6 tips in that one tip that I just spoke about, but this is like tip collection number 2, don't forget your mobile workers, people that are driving for like sales team or like your regional managers or whatever. If they're in a car a lot of the time, you know, winter brings some chunky risks here. You know, breaking down in the summer is not too bad. We can kind of just sit and chill and get suntan. Breaking down in the winter can at times be fatal. So are people ready to kind of break down? Are they going to be warm? And, you know, if their car's completely kaput, they've got no heat and no nothing, how are they going to stay warm? How are they going to look after themselves? Have they got enough clothes? Have they got maybe a little bit of food or something like that? Have a think about that. People that are driving a lot might also need their own little stock to be able to get them out of somewhere. They might need a little shovel to be able to dig themselves out of a bad situation. They might have been working at their client all day, for example, and a snowstorm has absolutely just come down. What do? Are they going to dig themselves out? You know, obviously you've got the risk of, is it safe to drive or not? But have a think about that. Are they prepared for a kind of a bad situation? Do they know what to do if something like that does happen? Have you had those conversations with your staff and understanding when is it not safe to drive? When is it not safe to travel? And kind of giving them the guidelines, the information, having that conversation for them to be able to make that decision to protect themselves, but still be able to work when they need to work. And I suppose the same there applies to people commuting to and from work. You should be having these conversations at work around what you as a business or you as a community at work deem as too dangerous to travel. And you're going to need a little bit of trust in your staff to be able to make that decision. I remember working for a manager that used to always be like, I've got here. That was his gauge. I've got here. So why can't you get here? Like, it's a completely different situation. Like, you drive a big 4x4 and I drive this tiny little Ford Fiesta, for example. I have to go up this massive hill to even get here. You don't. I don't know. But I just feel like that wasn't it was a terrible gauge. It doesn't really work like that, unfortunately. Loads of people have loads of different situations. So have a little bit of trust, have the conversations around, what's safe, what's not, and allow people to kind of make the decision. Remember that most of the time people want to come to work because we need to pay the bills. Have a think about if something did go wrong for somebody who's a lone worker or traveling, how are they going to get in contact with somebody? How are you going to know where they are? Here comes a bit of the shameless advert in that this episode, you know, is sponsored by our affiliate sponsorship with Safepoint, because I genuinely love what they do. They've got a great app to managing lone working. You can just install it, and once you've got the license, you've got all that business side of stuff. You can get it on your phone, on your tablet, whatever. And they've got this great thing where you have each location gets assigned 3 words. You communicate those 3 words to the emergency services and they know exactly where you are. So you don't have to do all that like, oh, I turned left off Bob Street, blah, blah, blah. It's absolutely amazing. You can even upgrade to their Guardian system where somebody's there monitoring the calls all the time. So they've got loads and loads of options. You can even have these wristband basically, which you can hit and say I'm in trouble, etc. So there's loads of stuff they do at Safepoint, which I genuinely think can be integrated into a business really, really quickly, really, really easily, and absolutely nail quite a lot of risk in your workplace. And it gives you that peace of mind as to if something went wrong with my member of staff who's out traveling, I know where they are, I know they're okay, and I can talk to them, I can get hold of them, and it's as quick as a button. You know, and you know, for some people that might not be reasonable or practicable. You might just be able to use a normal text service, and that's fine. But for those bigger businesses where you've got massive teams, you know, this might be a great option. And even for the little business, you know, you might just think I'd prefer something like that. So you can just not track them, but you can have that peace of mind to say, if I need to know where they are, I'm going to go there. Please don't use them as kind of staff monitoring tools to be like, oh, you spent 10 minutes at Costa, because that's not going to help your culture. But check them out. Here's a little advert. Hey everyone, sorry to interrupt, but I want to talk to you about lone working. It's a challenge for all of us because 9 times out of 10, nothing goes wrong. But what I think we lack in lone working is having a little bit of a capacity to fail safe. If something goes wrong, you know, who knows that that worker is in trouble? Does anyone know? How do they know where you are? And is there any help coming? How do we communicate? Sometimes we can say, well, we'll just text them. And you know what? Texting them is probably a good idea. Having that kind of check-in for some things like just popping into an office that we don't really use at the moment because we're all locked down or whatever is probably a good solution. But if something did go wrong, a text is a really hard thing to do. And that's why I partnered up with this company called Safepoint to get you guys some discount, because I just love what they're doing. They're innovative, it's easy to use, they've got some extra kind of hardware pieces that you can buy and complement it, and they've got some really cool stuff in there, like this 3-word thing, where basically the app creates these 3 words, and those 3 words, when you communicate them to the emergency services, tells them exactly where you are, like pinpoint. So it's not like you're having to go, oh, I don't know, I was out on my bike and I took a left off of, I don't know the road. You know, that's not going to help anyone, is it? And that's why this 3-word thing is so cool. So it would be like sheep, lamb, cow. And you'll be like, I've got the 3-word thing. And they'll be like, okay, cool, what are the 3 words? Sheep, lamb, cow. Boom, we know where you are. We'll be there in 10 minutes. It's like, that is cool, man. And that's why we partnered up with them. So go check them out at safepointapp.com/rebranding safety. Use the code rebranding safety. If you sign up for the monthly plan, you get 10% off your first month. But if you sign up to the annual plan, you can get 10% off the entire year, off the entire first year, man, just from typing rebranding safety. And obviously, we get a little bit of a kickback so you can support your favorite podcast at the same time as nailing the risk of lone working. Okay, last 2. So, second to last, business continuity planning. So bad at it in the UK, we are so bad at it. But if you get a massive snowstorm, what are you going to do? Now, you've just gone through one of the biggest business continuity exercises you could ever have gone through, which is called a global pandemic. If you are now not ready to operate, if your office is snowed in or people are snowed in from home, and you still don't have a business continuity plan, I feel like you're never going to survive anyway. So just pack up now and bugger off. Jokes, please don't. Time to look and learn from what we've gone through and build yourself an ironclad business continuity plan. How are you going to adjust and deviate when something goes wrong? What if we have a massive rainstorm tomorrow? What if we have a massive snowstorm in a couple of weeks and everyone is snowed in? Yeah, don't sit there and be like, it'll never happen, because I think 2020 has taught us that that phrase should never be uttered. Shit happened. I mean, damn, 2020. Have a look at your business continuity plan. If you've got extreme weather, how are you going to survive? How are you going to survive? Think about your heating systems, think about your electrical systems, think about people coming into work. Can they come into work? What if they're in work and then they get stuck in work? How are you going to deal with that? So on and so forth. So have a think about this stuff. And a business continuity plan can be such a fun exercise because you get a load of people in and get loads of people from different areas, get some real good employee engagement going on, and just have a bit of a fun exercise. Throw out some crazy scenarios out there and go, right, what happens if we have a global pandemic? Yeah, that'll never happen. Yeah, but let's just play a game and see if it is. And now look, business continuity planning can be a good thing to do for engagement, for culture building, but also it's just a must-have for all businesses. So think about your business continuity plan. Last but not least, create some feedback loops. A lot of the time we create feedback loops, we do checks, etc. So at 4 o'clock we're going to go out and do a check. Oh, is it slipping? No, it's not slipping. Yeah. But all the time we've got customers coming back and forth. We've got people walking around. We might have students, patients, whatever. How can they feedback? Instead of just thinking, right, we're just going to check on every Thursday at 2 o'clock, in which case you're probably only ever really safe at Thursday at 2 o'clock. Instead of focusing those checks and checklists, why don't you create open feedback loops throughout your business? So if you're in a hospital, for example, why don't you have, in winter times, you're just saying to the nurse and matrons when they've walked in, the patient has walked in, you just go, hey, how was the path on the way here? Was it gritted all right? Was it anything we need to know about? Everything okay? Yeah, everything was fine. Oh, great, cool. Come on then, let's get you onto your bed or whatever, or actually sit here for 8 hours and wait probably. But anyway, that aside, those kind of conversations, asking the students when they come into a classroom. Hey everyone, anyone slip over? Anyone have any funny stories on the way in today? Oh yeah, Bob slipped over and he absolutely looked like a right dickhead mess. Oh yeah, where did he slip over? Oh, just off the side of the football pitch. Yeah, feedback loop. You've now just done your check. And you can react to that, estates team, whatever. Hello, listen to this, get this fixed please. Off we go, boom, there we go, done. Create feedback loops, don't just stick to your checks. Try and get it ingrained in everything we do, just a general conversation. And when you hear it, react to it. Okay, let's summarize. Be proactive. Have you got the understanding, the guidance and the equipment to be able to proactively deal with winter? Because it's coming, it happens every year, we know it's going to happen, so can you deal with it? Set some guidelines of how to react, build yourself up enough equipment, PPE and stock for gritting, etc., to be able to react. Have a think about people traveling for work, lone workers and mobile workers and the commute to work. Yeah, how are you going to get hold of them if something went wrong? How are they going to locate to the emergency services if something went wrong? A great app like Safepoint might be able to help you there. Otherwise, you know, how are they going to keep warm if the car breaks down and so on and so forth? Do they know how to do vehicle checks, which I didn't mention before? Do they have all the information to be able to decide whether something is safe to travel or not and make that decision? Business continuity plan, you've got to have it, people. Like, it's just bad business if you don't. So have a real critical look at yours. Start playing some war games with it, play around with it, have some fun, create a little culture building exercise through your business continuity. These can be great little exercises for you to do. So to have a look at your business continuity plan, don't take it for granted like people used to do pre-2020, and really critically look at your business continuity planning. Last but not least, feedback loops. Do not just have your generic checks that people take for granted. They don't really do and they mean nothing. Create feedback loops in everything you do. In those conversations, your customers, someone's coming in, they buy something, you say, hey, how was your journey in? Was there anything, was it gritted all right? Was it gritted outside? Oh yeah, it was gritted, real nice actually. Oh good. Great, thanks for letting us know. Have a great day, see you later. Create those feedback loops in your business because they're there. You're just not utilizing them. Okay people, I hope you enjoyed that video. They were my top tips for managing winter at work. Well, that's a good one. Managing winter at work. That's our title. I've just thought of it. There we go. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to go check out Safepoint. I really do think it's a great app. Otherwise, we wouldn't promote it on this video. If you click the link below, it is an affiliate link and we get a little bit of a kickback so you can help us as well. If you want to help us even more, you can go check out our merch, www.rebrandingsafety.com. Get yourself some merch. You get t-shirts, sweatshirts, etc. Get yourself a mug as well, tote bag as well, loads of stuff you can get and it really helps us out as well. So hope you've enjoyed this. If you've got any other tips that we haven't included in this, hit them in the comments below so that we can all help each other out. And if you've really enjoyed this video, give it a share as well. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next video. Safe.